What's going on, guys? I'm Ryan. Welcome to the channel. Today is a different kind of video. It's something that I just want to do for fun. I'm going to be 22 on September 9th, and I thought it would be kind of a fun video to just look at every year I've been born, from 1998 to 2020, and just pick out what my favorite game was from each year. I want to give a shout out to Sean Chandler Talks, because I watched Sean Chandler do a video like this with films from all the years he's been alive. So he's an awesome YouTuber, and I like movies a lot, but not as much as video games. So that's what we're here to talk about. Going to look through the last 22 years and pick a game that I love from each year the most, and maybe some honorable mentions as well. It's a fun, casual video. Sit back and enjoy. All right, so we're going to kick things off in 1998. Of course, I wasn't playing games for more than a couple of years after I was born, but 98 was when Ocarina of Time came out. And this is a fantastic adventure game that still holds up really well today. I've played it as recent as earlier this year, and I really enjoy it. I don't think I've ever beaten it, but Ocarina of Time is awesome. I really, really enjoy it. So, looking back at the games that came out that year, that is the one that stood out to me. I think it's a game that is nostalgic, even for me, even though I didn't grow up playing it. I didn't really play it till sometime the GameCube, probably. Really, the 3DS remake is when I got into it, but I love that game. Honorable mention also to Metal Gear Solid, a game that I don't think holds up as well as Ocarina of Time, but it's really good for what it is and for what it was. And it is honestly pretty cool. Even in modern day, it's a pretty cool game. I guess especially looking back at how far the series has come. The next year, Super Smash Bros. Is my favorite game from 99. I mean, it is just so much fun to play Super Smash Bros. In general. You'll see that the series will be mentioned again for sure in this video. And I actually think that it's still pretty fun today. If you were to fire up the N64 version of Smash, play it on the Wii or something in the Virtual Console, or play an original version of it, it still plays well and it's still a good time. And it was a very, very fun game. Of course, I didn't really get into Smash till Brawl, but this original one is still awesome. My favorite game from that year. No honorable mentions because I really don't know. I looked at the year and I know why those games that came out that year are important, but nothing stood out for me personally. So let's move right along to 2000. This is when we see more Zelda in Majora's Mask, a game that is, I don't love it as much as Ocarina of Time, but it's really cool. I like that it's kind of a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time. It's very cool with the masks and with the time system, and it's darker. It's a really interesting game, and as a fan of the Legend of Zelda series, of course, I've enjoyed it. I don't necessarily feel like I've given it as much time as I've given to a lot of the other games I'm going to talk about in this video. Like I said, again, older games I haven't played as much of, but I do enjoy Majora's Mask a lot. I don't have an honorable mention for 2000. Again, nothing really meant anything to me when I looked it up. 2001, we'll see some more Super Smash Bros. And Metal Gear Solid. I give it to Super Smash Bros. Melee, a game that people still adore to this day and still play religiously. I like Melee a lot. I think it's awesome. It holds up really well. I get why people prefer it to some of the more newer Smash games. It's great. It's nostalgic. I actually feel like I did play it pretty early on in its life cycle a little bit, so I enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, honorable mention goes out to Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, a game that is really cool. I like the whole, shocking thing where we played as Raiden. It worked. I mean, it was a really interesting game. In 2002, we got Super Mario Sunshine, a game that I'm excited, very, very excited, honestly, to play on the Switch coming up. I am not really remembering much about Sunshine, but I know it's a very fun game. Of course, it's a Super Mario game, so it's I like all things Mario, and I think that Sunshine is very fun. It is delightful. It's got an odd charm to it, being kind of unique. It's weird with some of the stuff, but it works. It's a fun game. Honorable mention goes out to GTA Vice City, a game that I definitely admittedly need to go back and just really give it a full experience, but I've played it on multiple occasions here and there, and I love I like Vice City a lot. I'm kind of hoping GTA 6 goes back to that time period and does some stuff with it, because it's honestly really awesome. So the next year we got Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Yeah, 2003, Ruby and Sapphire dropped, and those games are really awesome. I actually would go as far as saying that they're totally worth playing today. I mean, I actually like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire a lot. They're some of my favorite 3DS games. But yeah, Ruby and Sapphire are really great. So I had to pick that for my game from 2003. Shout out Legend of Zelda Wind Waker is my honorable mention because that game is also a game full of water from Nintendo. And it has really just awesome art style and just a lot of charm. It's a very nice, fun Zelda game and it's so different and I love it. Obviously, people still love it today more than they did back then. In 2004, speaking of Metal Gear Solid prior, you know how I said like I love 2, but not as much as some of the other ones. I'm a really big fan of 3. I mean, I enjoyed it so much. I thought the story was so captivating. The boss fights were really kind of interesting and unique, and the gameplay was sort of like very forward thinking. It felt like it was advanced. I mean, I played it on the PS3 late in the PS3 life cycle, but I would say that Metal Gear Solid 3 is a very deep game and a very great game at that. I really enjoy it. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, honorable mention here. I mean, that's the one old school GTA. I say, you know, that's the one of that trilogy that I've played the most of. I really enjoy it. I don't think it's... Obviously, none of the older GTAs are as good now because you look at how 5 is so advanced, but San Andreas was really dope. I really liked the characters. I like the story, the urban setting. I like just the whole feel of it overall. It's a very, very great game, honestly. So, you know, honorable mention of that. Moving on to 2005, one of my favorite franchises in all of gaming began with God of War. I played it first on the PS3 in the remastered collection, and you know, the first 2 God of War games feel like they could have been PS3 games. I think they're very fun, very enjoyable. You know, just the chaos and the boss fights and the combos and all the just sick action that God of War has. It was very cool. I love the power trip. So that's my favorite game of 2005 for sure. That year we also got Pokemon Emerald. You know, this is my honorable mention. It's follow up to Ruby and Sapphire as that 3rd game in the series, but like Emerald did it all a little bit better. I would go back and play Emerald, of course, over Ruby and Sapphire. I really like that Gen 3 game. I think that Emerald is awesome, and it did some nice kind of changes to the first 2. In 2006, honestly, it's weird for me to pick an Xbox game, but it's Gears of War. I mean, I didn't even have an Xbox console until 2014, Xbox One. I got a chance to play all the Gears of War games. Of course, I played it as the remake, but, you know, I've also gone back and checked out it in its original version, and Gears of War is a great game. I think that it really did a good job at introducing us to a pretty likable cast of these brawly big guys, and they're dynamic, and the gunplay feels very fun. The chainsaw is just sickening in the best way possible. A lot of great action, just a very exciting game. And honestly, like, it felt as good as the modern, like the newer sequels too, when I played it a few years back. So yeah, Gears of War was really cool. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is my honorable mention. Shout out to just another Zelda game that is divisive. I think that Twilight Princess deserves to make it to the Switch so I can finally play it again. I want to play it again. I played it on my Wii, not my GameCube, but Twilight Princess is I think it's really good. I mean, I really like the darker atmosphere and tone to it. I like the art direction that they went with. There's a lot of exciting, you know, moments in adventuring and the boss fights and stuff. So I'm about it. So that's my honorable mention. 2007 is when we got Super Mario Galaxy. I would almost go as far as saying it's my favorite game ever. I really, really like Super Mario Galaxy. I just had such a good time, 200 and something percenting that game on the Wii. Delightful experience, amazing music, incredible level design, and just feel like just the gameplay was fun. It felt good. It's such a fun Mario game. And honestly, I literally was so hyped when I found out we're finally getting on the Switch. So Super Mario Galaxy, easily my favorite game from 2007. But I also want to give that shout out to Uncharted, Drake's Fortune. I actually played it earlier this year and it still stands relatively well. 2, 3, and 4 are major improvements. But the first Uncharted game has that tone. It gives us the story of our favorite characters on the PlayStation 3. I mean, Nathan, Drake, and Elena, and Sully, you know, it's got a fun vibe to it, that action movie vibe. It's still a great game, I think. In 2008, there were 2 Wii games that took up my whole year and then some. I loved Super Smash Bros. Brawl the most. I mean, that game, that is when I really got into Super Smash Bros. And I just found myself always wanted to play more of it. Subspace Emissaries cutscenes, oh my god, it's so sick. So impressive. I wish that they would do that more. I love it. I stand by Brawl. I mean, I don't know. I just put in dozens of hundreds of hours in it. Like, I play with my friends all the time. That was when we were in our prime of just kids playing Smash Bros. After school and stuff and sleepovers and all. And I really, really enjoy it. So that's there's no other way. That's my favorite game from 2008. But Mario Kart Wii is a close second because that's another game that we played together as friends. It was an experience that we had together, me and my friends. It was a game that I really just fell in love with. Before Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or Mario Kart 8, I guess, as itself, I would say that Mario Kart Wii was like my favorite and maybe the best one. In 2009, we got Uncharted 2, and this sequel did everything better than the first game. It was awesome. It is so great, and I know why it's well regarded. I love it, but it's not my favorite game from 2009. It's my honorable mention, as I prefer Batman Arkham Asylum over anything else that released in that stacked year, because I think that being Batman is so cool. And Rocksteady proved they know what they're doing. They know how to make us experience that. And it was just so much fun. I think that the story was really interesting. It flowed well. Besides that Joker boss fight, the Titan at the ending, which sucked, everything else was really cool. A lot of interesting Easter eggs and villain appearances, boss fights, combat was so much fun. The free flowing, it was just awesome to string combos together and jump over the enemies and dodge them and just beating up guys. It was our first experience in what Rocksteady would just perfect again and again with the series. And, looking back at it, it's like crazy to think that Arkham Asylum is still that awesome. My favorite game from 2010 is Super Mario Galaxy 2. Much like its predecessor, this is just a masterpiece of a game, a masterclass in platforming and Nintendo's incredible, delightful, fun-loving, polished game design. I think that the platforming is awesome. There's just as many great musical tracks and planets to explore and fun stars to collect, and just the overall experience was just a joy. So many great things going on. Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 kind of go back and forth if I like one or the other better, but easily my favorite game that came out in 2010 was Super Mario Galaxy 2. Big shout out to Red Dead Redemption, though. Rockstar is a developer that just knows how to make amazing games, and their games are mentioned a lot in this video, I think. And Red Dead is fantastic. The sequel is better in most ways, but like Red Dead Redemption still has just such an intimate, incredible story that is told really well, like a film. I think that John Marston is so interesting and everyone around him compliments him, and there's just so many amazing story moments to remember, and the gameplay was very fun. It was just an awesome cowboy adventure that we never had, or I never had. Widely regarded as one of the best years in gaming, 2011 saw the release of another Batman and another Uncharted, but the roles are reversed this time from 2009, because I actually had to pick Uncharted 3 as my game of the year from 2011. And it's crazy because Batman Arkham City is just fantastic. One of my favorite games ever. It's an improvement on Asylum, and I almost would have picked it as my number one, but I don't know. Uncharted 3 stuck with me more than I ever thought it would, more than the other games in the series. I just feel like I love every single moment in it, all the cinematic moments. I love going back to Nathan Drake and his younger days with Sully. I think that it tells such a great story with a lot of really memorable moments in different places around the world. I love going to the desert and riding the horses, and there's just a bunch of really exciting action movie moments. Uncharted 3 is just a joy to play, and I don't know, it's not everyone's favorite Uncharted, but I think it's still a masterpiece in many ways, and it's my favorite. And then in 2012, we got Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is my favorite game that year. It's a sequel to one of my favorite games from 2010. If I was able to give a couple more honorable mentions in this video, I would have mentioned it. Black Ops 2, though, man, that campaign was so good. I think that it's a very, very good story. I really like how it blended our modern stuff and like the modern warfare type of feel, but also with some futuristic stuff. The overall game just had some incredible maps, lots of memories I made. I mean, it's very personal to me because that's when I was playing COD the most with my friends, and it was just endless nights on Black Ops 2. I mean, I really like that game. I think that it's one of the best stories in Call of Duty, one of the best multiplayers. I mean, personally, I don't know. I really, really like it. All right, so the next year, of course, is 2013, a year that I would actually go and say is kind of the year that I truly got into gaming. I started to just play more. I think that year I started buying a lot more games. It was next gen consoles were coming out, and I was sort of just playing catch up on a lot of the PS3 games that I missed out on. I didn't have a 360 then. Something about 2013, man. I think there's so many good games that came out, and it was tough picking my number one, let alone two of them. So I have to say my honorable mention is for GTA 5, a game that, if you asked me a couple months ago, might have been my number one game from 2013. It really depends on the day, I guess, with these two games. So GTA 5 is just a game that I think everyone loves. I mean, I really enjoyed the campaign. I've played it multiple times. I've bought the game multiple times, like at least 3. And online is sick. It's so much fun. That year, I just couldn't believe how awesome that story was, and just the gameplay is so much fun. I've spent hours on end just messing around with cheat codes in the game, just driving around, sometimes driving by the rules, changing my clothes, killing people, doing stunts off of mountains, just going crazy, having a great time. GTA 5 is just a joy. But my favorite game from 2013 is The Last of Us, because Naughty Dog told such a very powerful story that year, and a story that affected me and stuck with me over the last several years, more than GTA's did, or more than BioShock Infinite, Tomb Raider, or anything else that came out that year. The Last of Us, of course, just got its sequel, and now it's on my mind again. I played The Last of Us Remastered earlier this year, and the game is just so good. I mean, the opening is incredible, the ending is incredible, the whole flow of the story. We have such interesting characters who are real, very relatable. Looking back at it, despite the fact that there are zombies from a fungus, you know, if you look at it just for what it is, a story about people trying to survive, it's a very intimate, realistic story that I think that anyone can understand why it's so good, because they have such an incredible direction. We have 2 characters who are voice acted incredibly well. I mean, Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker have such a great chemistry just with their voices, and we see that Joel and Ellie are amazing characters who I will continue to love. And, you know, The Last of Us has just a very, very compelling, engrossing world and narrative. It is a masterpiece in video game design. I mean, that's a fact. So my favorite game in 2014 is actually Far Cry 4. I ended up playing a lot of this game on PS4. I actually basically got the Platinum Trophy. I didn't. Pretty pissed off still after all these years, because the multiplayer trophies, this shoehorned in multiplayer that I didn't realize was going to affect my trophies until it was too late. I never got it, but I basically did everything in that game. Kirot was a very interesting open world. I really enjoyed it. I thought that there were some beautiful environments and music and fun characters and just crazy things going on. I like Pagan Min a lot. I loved just the gameplay loop that Far Cry is known for. And while I do really enjoy 5 and some of the other ones as well, I think that 4 is just my favorite. And it was the game that I enjoyed the most in 2014. And I still look back at it and just sometimes I still want to play it again. Honorable mention, Wolfenstein: The New Order, a series that, I didn't play any of the older Wolfenstein games, but the modern ones, save for one of them, is really good. And I love New Order. I thought that it had a great narrative. I like BJ Blazkowicz a lot. The action is brutal, intense, over the top, very, very fast-paced and fun, and I just had a great time with that game. In 2015, we're back to talking about Batman once again, because that trilogy is just incredible. Arkham Knight is my favorite game from that year for a lot of reasons. I mean, I played a lot of it. I ended up spending more time than I ever thought I would just in the AR challenges and just exploring the open world, even though there were some issues like the Batmobile, and I think that we all knew who Arkham Knight was a little too quickly. I found myself just still enjoying that story a lot. I'm blown away by the technical performance of just the whole game. It looks amazing in 2020 as well. Arkham Knight has such good combat, such good gameplay. I mean, the loop is just incredible. Like, I really, really thought that the gameplay was just insanely fun. I never wanted to stop fighting enemies in there and gliding around and diving into people and using all my gadgets. It's sick. It's like a dance, the way the combat works. Great game. Really perfected what Batman Arkham City City did, in my opinion. Quick shout out to Mortal Kombat 10 or Mortal Kombat X. Still don't know the proper term. Mortal Kombat is a series that I've only loved since it was rebooted with NetherRealm. They're incredible developers, some of the best out there, period. Mortal Kombat 10 had some really interesting new characters. I like the young people. I thought that the gameplay was just continuously violent and exciting with all the new types of mechanics introduced in there. It had a really good campaign. I was very engrossed by it. It's definitely a really good game. In 2016, there are two games that I played a lot of. I think I 100% in Watch Dogs 2. I love this game. I mean, I've actually talked about it multiple times on this channel. I stand by it. It's a game that is underrated in my opinion because people were not impressed by the first Watch Dogs, understandably, though I don't dislike it. I actually like it quite a bit. But Watch Dogs 2, man, it's just like an improvement. It gave us more likable characters with more fun. The story was just a lot more fun to follow. It was lighthearted in the best way possible. San Francisco was an awesome open world with many sights to see and fun things to take part in. The gameplay evolved. The hacking was so cool, but the combat was also better. I thought that there was just always an incentive to keep doing fun things in there. I don't know if it was just me. I mean, one of my good friends and I really played the hell out of Watch Dogs 2, and it is literally one of my favorite games of this console generation. Ratchet & Clank released in 2016 as well. That's a game that I got the Platinum Trophy in very proudly after I played it like 3 times till the end. It's so much fun, man. I wish I grew up playing the older Ratchet & Clank games because I see the appeal. Ratchet & Clank 2016, delightful game with some crazy weapons and just an endless fun to be had with that gameplay. And I never wanted to stop playing it. I can't wait for the sequel finally coming out. In 2017, my favorite game is one that I also feel like not everyone talks about as their favorite, but it's Injustice 2. So I really played this game so much. Same friend who played Watch Dogs 2 with me, him and I got addicted to Injustice 2. This multiverse system was wild, man. I just kept upgrading things, kept customizing, changing things around. I was making 5 different variations of every fighter. I was rocking with Green Lantern and Green Arrow, Atrocitus, and The Flash, and so many cool characters. I'm a really big comic book character fan. I don't read comic books, but I like the movies and the TV shows. I'm a big fan of the Arrowverse. I've enjoyed, other comic book video games. So it's like going into this game, I was already super hyped. Injustice Gods Among Us rocks, but Injustice 2 had an incredible story mode. If you look at what fighting games used to do with campaigns and now it's crazy, and NetherRealm really perfected it more than anybody else. What a game. What a game. Big shout out to Super Mario Odyssey, honorable mention from 2017. I mean, it's just joyous. It's just fun. It's bright. It's Mario. I don't like it as much as Galaxy and Galaxy 2, but I like it a whole lot. It's a 10 out of 10, no doubt. Super Mario Odyssey had such awesome design with its hubs. It's not a full open world game, but each level was its own open world. So many things to collect. I love being able to possess enemies. It was a very fun game. It's Mario. I mean, there's not really much more to say. My favorite game from 2018 was God of War. Could have been another game. I mean, it could have been a lot of other games. I think that year was just excellent. I mean, the one honorable mention I'm going to give is to Marvel Spider-Man. Miles Morales is coming out soon. I'm very, very excited for that. I'm playing Marvel's Avengers right now. I like it a lot, but it's not Marvel Spider-Man. Insomniac did better with their Marvel superhero game. Marvel Spider-Man is insane. It's a Spider-Man movie in a video game. It's got great characters, great storytelling, great boss fights, incredibly fun gameplay with a lot of incentive and loop to just keep playing. Awesome New York City open world swing around. You get the idea. God of War is a masterclass in storytelling in video games. It is an incredibly well-made video game. I mean, no cuts, just, you're Kratos and you see what he sees and it goes back to him. There's no loading in between. It is just a very smooth flow, and it blows me away from a technical standpoint, but also just it's enjoyable to watch it. It feels good to just watch that flow and just play it, and it never actually stops being good. There are some really interesting side missions to take part in if you want. You don't have to, but there's great stories to be told, so much lore. they took a mythos from Norse and got rid of the Greek stuff, and they somehow did it even better than old God of War games. Kratos and Atreus, one of the best relationships in video games, hands down. There's like not that many characters in this game, like really not many at all, but they're all insane. So much talent in the voice acting and really, really well written. It's a beautiful game. It's an emotional game. And the story, it's the journey and the destination. Both of them are fantastic. But really, it is not so much about where they want to go, because it's kind of simple, but it's really where everything happens in between, and we watch them grow. And I just still can't stop thinking about how good God of War was. I would say my favorite game from 2019 has got to be Mortal Kombat 11. Here we go again, some more NetherRealm love. They're insanely good developers. Mortal Kombat 11 continued to get good this year with more content. Aftermath, of course. I've been playing it a lot over the last several months, and it's so much fun. The customization with your fighters is awesome. It's so much more incentive to just keep playing. The fighting is it's perfected at this point, and they can't get any better. Every character is awesome. There's so much fun to be had. Like, it's just that entertaining. The campaign is even better than Injustice 2, so I think it might be. I don't know. Mortal Kombat 11 is just an incredible game. I still love playing it. Can't wait if we get some more content in it. The other game I want to talk about real quick, 2019 Jedi Fallen Order. I really liked it. I thought that Cal proved to be more interesting with time. I loved everything going on around him. It was a cool concept. That shocking reveal at the ending was pretty sick. I'm not going to spoil it just in case. Jedi Fallen Order's combat is incredible. It feels so good to swing that lightsaber around and use the Force. I love the challenge because it's a difficult game, but you feel like a badass when you really accomplish it and when you succeed. So much fun in the boss fights and going back and taking on enemies you died to many times and you just wreck them later on. It was a really, really awesome experience and what I really wanted from EA Star Wars, not Battlefront 2. Sorry, I want more of this. All right, and the last year is where we are right now. The most ridiculous, crazy year that I can think of. No, I mean, 2020 is a mess, but we do have some awesome video games. I mean, I was really addicted to a certain game when I was quarantined. I'm sure you can all guess what that was, but my hair's probably pretty messy and there's probably a lot of weeds on my island right now. The game that the two games that I love from 2020, they're the two PlayStation exclusives. They're incredible. I'm actually going to go with, I'm going to say that I prefer Ghost of Tsushima to Last of Us Part 2 because I think that it's more fun. I think there's just more entertainment, a pure entertainment value. The fact that I'm still playing Ghosts, I'm still trying to get that 100% platinum. I'm going to every fox and chasing it. I'm going to every shrine. I'm taking down every, enemy camp and liberating it all. I want to get every duel. I just keep upgrading all these armor sets that I don't even need to wear. It's just so much fun to play. The combat is just awesome. I think that Sucker Punch really told an incredible story, one that I was very interested in. Has a lot of emotional moments, well-written characters, nice dynamics, a lot of moments of family, and a lot of other kind of little stories to tell. Every side mission seems to be really interesting. It's an insanely good game. Like, honestly, an improvement on Infamous, and I like Infamous quite a bit. But yeah, man, I mean, Ghost of Tsushima, I'm not gonna stop thinking about it. I'm gonna get that platinum trophy, and The Last of Us Part 2, I stopped after I beat it. New Game Plus is kind of calling my name, but like, do I really want to see more people get stabbed and get their fingers bitten and like heads shot? Like, it's so violent to watch, but it tells such an amazing story. It tells a 10 out of 10 narrative that I think is as good as any film. I mean, Joel and Ellie's story from The Last of Us is followed up in such an interesting, fresh, and a way that I totally understood why they went with what they did. I love Abby. I like her story of her come up. I like the connection between her and Ellie. I like the rivalry. I like how each storyline is told individually, but we see sort of everything come full circle in some ways. I like the pacing is really interesting. And at first I was skeptical too, yes, but it grows on me. It grew on me quite a bit quickly, and I love it. The gameplay was actually more fun than the first game. I thought I had a little more, I thought I enjoyed it more. The combat felt a little more exciting. I felt like I didn't have to just be stealthy. I liked the human element, and that was sort of more focused on than the the clickers and the runners and stuff. Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima are two games that I consider 10 out of 10. Two games that I consider some of the best of the whole generation. Which one do I like more? It'll go back and forth a little bit, but I gotta go with Ghost. And I think that's gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. You know, I wanted to do something different. I don't know. I was just thinking like, hey, you know, wouldn't it be fun to kind of look at every year that I've been alive, pick a game and then an honorable mention if I can, and just talk a little bit about why I love those games. I feel like it's an opportunity for me to kind of talk to you guys about the games that I enjoy, give you a little bit of feel for what I grew up playing or what I have the most, you know, connection to video game wise. I hope that I can do some more videos like this. I had a lot of fun talking, very, very naturally, you know, no script or anything really, just had to pick which games I'm going to talk about. So yeah, there you guys have it. It would be kind of fun if you leave me a comment, you know, maybe your favorite game from every year you've been alive, no matter how old you are. If you enjoyed this video, you know, maybe consider giving me a subscribe. I think it would help out a lot. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.